So I find myself yet again around this place. You guys might already be knowing this place. And I'm inside Makerere University, the calm, peaceful and serene environment of the academic scholars within Kampala, Uganda. So my journey is going to start from here, and I shall exit the Makerere through the western gate, and that should take me straight onto Sir Apollo Kagwa, onto the suburbs of KiKoni-Makerere, the students' hub. And then I hope to travel and take you through a walking tour of the suburbs of Kikoni and take you as far as the UNESCO Heritage Site of Kasubi Tombs within Kampala, Uganda. Kind of a rare scene and a great tourist attraction. Anyway, right now I'm on Garden Hill Road, and this Garden Hill Road to me seems more like a very peaceful environment, and from the structure that I gather, this looks like it was residential area for senior staff of Makerere, probably the teaching staff, probably administrative staff too. Anyway, right now we ascend this hill, but look at the beauty. This is an avocado tree. This compound, I think, is being maintained. That's actually a motorized slashing machine, which is a bit of an interesting tool of choice. And in the distance, the buildings that you see in white, and that structure has been adapted to accommodate different institutions. Actually, even the one down right the other side is the Reform. I don't know what it stands for. In case you know, please do let me know. And this that I was showing you is the Confucius Institute. Okay, it kind of gives me the hard time to pronounce, but anyway, the Confucius Institute is an endeavor by the Chinese government established in 2004 to promote the teaching of Mandarin and Chinese languages across the world. So it's considered a cultural Confucius Institute, the Makerere University. Very interesting. This one here, interesting. So it looks like here it's a partnership between Makerere University, Jiangtang University, I hope I'm pronouncing that well, and many of them across Europe have been closing up, but what they normally do is collaborate with universities across the world to offer languages in Chinese, and those languages normally help most of the students studying languages, most of the social sciences. They can take on Chinese as a language, and that's what's happening here inside Makerere. Makerere is quite pristine. It rained. It's 6 p.m. evening, and you can see the tree. Yes, I'm walking uphill. It's actually called Makerere Hill, and in case I seem to be breathing heavily, that's due to walking. I think this hasn't yet been converted. It's still residential, and I'm going to join the quarry road. I don't know why they call it quarry road. I wonder whether there was a quarry up this hill, but there's a lot of maram on this hill anyways. And into the distance, that's actually physics department, but this quarry road actually transitions to Mid-North Court Road, and the North Court Road moves from Kuruma up to the main library. And some of these buildings are actually magnificent. Yes, Makerere University was founded in 1922, and it's considered the premier university in Africa. Premier probably to mean the first, or probably to mean one of the best. And indeed it is one of the best, because it has produced a lot of African presidents: Mwai Kibaki of Kenya, Milton Obote of Uganda, Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. I think Julius Nyerere is really considered a man of peace and has won a lot of honorary degrees. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But this is the physics department, and this actually should be the College of Natural Sciences, those infrastructure that you see. And just to show you a little more, This is the physics department in Makerere University, in case you want to keep in touch with it. Personally, I love the architecture, and this road should actually push me on to SEDAT. That is the College of Engineering, Design and Art. It's actually a pedestrian walkway, much as there's a parking lot here. Right ahead of me is simply just a set of stairs that lead to nowhere. More of the beautiful physics building. I see some props on top of the building. Is that a windmill? It's not spinning. Usually it spins, but I think that means there's less wind today. The tiny one is actually running. The big one hasn't. This is a satellite dish. There was a time when we got internet via satellite dishes. I do not know when this was established, but clearly it's out of service because I don't see any cable connecting to it. That's because it has been superseded by fiber internet and microwave internet from telecommunication towers. And lo and behold, the College of Engineering, Design and Art, the old building in the behind the trees, barely visible, the parking lot, and then the new building. I think it was built in 2008, probably opened in 2010. In the distance, food science and technology. But that's not why we are here. We are simply walking through, and we are going to have to join the other road that kind of slopes down. I was wondering whether I should have taken you through the SEDAT new building. It seems to be a workshop. I wonder whether it's one of those structures that were earlier built in the time when the university was still a technical college. It has evolved over the years up to when it became a university. Anyway, this stretch is really peaceful. Actually, students are in holidays, therefore you'll barely see any around, and those that are moving through probably are just passing through the university or their support staff or non-teaching staff, which is a bit intriguing. This place has been cleared. I didn't notice. That means I have taken a while without coming to this part. This looked like a jungle just recently, and down there was a mechanical workshop. It first left. I thought they had just failed to work out terms, but apparently there must have been a project upcoming. I wonder what the project is. I hope the structure is extremely high-rise, because I don't like the idea that most of these buildings are not higher than 4 floors, and yet some of them were constructed back in the 50s. So I think to anticipate for future needs, they should even go probably 20 floors, 10 floors. That should be bulletproof, because the university is ever increasing in size. So in case you're wondering, that's the College of Engineering, Design, Art and Technology. There's actually architecture, engineering, basically built environment, and civil engineering or electrical engineering or mechanical engineering, land economics, a lot of stuff to do with engineering and the built environment, basically civil related stuff. Now, this is the Mansfield Road. I do not know who Mansfield was, but just as it starts curving, it will become West Road, probably because this is the western part of Makerere University. Interesting cell tower. There's one I showed you sometime in one of my videos that had been made to look like a pine tree with the branches of sorts, artificial branches anyways. Makerere actually, interestingly, has a perimeter wall nowadays, unlike before 2017 when it was very porous. Now, in the distance, more of the staff quarters. Let me get out of the way. And yep, now I'm seeing some glimpse of life starting. But this right here is actually Makerere University West Road, and it kind of heads into the distance, and far into the distance you'll find Mary Stewart Hall. And today I'm not actually moving inside Makerere. The idea is to exit, and right now I'm going to exit through the western gate. It's a paid parking space if you want to be inside, but if you're a student, there's no need to pay. And this is how the western gate is looking like, sort of ushering me out onto Sir Apollo Kagwa Road. And now you can see the shift in energy from the quieter formal establishment inside to the busy, noisy Sir Apollo Kagwa Road. And I think I'm going to go in that direction of Sir Apollo Kagwa. Actually, Sir Apollo Kagwa is considered a prime minister of Uganda sometime in the past, what you would loosely call the Katikiro. And he was a pioneer of education, so I think naming this after him is not a far-fetched idea or very wild, and I think it's actually a good idea. So for now, just look at the traffic in Sir Apollo Kagwa. I think there's some construction ahead that's actually causing traffic jam. Okay. I'm going to move in that direction, but I will not reach the extreme end where you'll find Full Gospel Church. I'll take a walk, probably midway the distance between the Eastern Gate and Sir Apollo Kagwa, where it meets Makerere Hill Road. All right. Anyway, let's take a move. Let's take a move. So I'm going to walk through KiKoni, and I'm going to see the transition right here. Anyway, let me find a way of crossing this street. I think it is nicer if I'm moving from this side of the on the opposite side of the traffic. All right. By the way, my plan is to also eventually kind of find food. Interesting hump. Feels like a tiny hill, so I'm crossing the street, and Sir Apollo Kagwa looks like this. Now we are into business. This is the hustle and bustle where the student's life actually begins. So you might have also noticed that I think walked a portion of this stretch yesterday, and it's mostly full of residential areas for students. Basically, they call them hostels, though for most tourists, I think hostels mean something else, but the idea is shared accommodation. So Sunways, hostels and accommodation. Interesting. I think it's a new structure, probably. I don't remember it. As per Bascon, I've seen it for a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 floors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, now that's what I mean. So I hope the structure that is being built inside Makerere University. Wow, it's beautiful. Look at the tree line. Wow. Yeah, it never grows old, but the boundary wall or perimeter wall doesn't help it. In the past, it used to be a porous boundary, and it was a transition from the hustle and bustle of the student residential hub into the main university, but because of insecurity, they have long put a perimeter wall. I think the project started around 2019 there. And let's proceed. I can see Nanfumbambi Road junction in the distance. Let's head there. And that should bring us all the way through KiKoni. And we shall eventually find ourselves at the Kasubi Tombs junction, the UNESCO World Heritage Center. So stay with me and let's move. Enjoy the sound of traffic along this road. I'll keep quiet for about just 2 minutes. Anyway, just as a reminder, this walk actually takes you through the historical heights of Makerere University that you see over there, into the deep cultural heart of Buganda Kingdom at the Kasubi Tombs, the hill right in the distance. But we are going to walk all the way right there. And we've reached our junction of Nanfumbambi. So instead of going into the distance to meet Makerere Hill Road where Full Gospel Church is, we are actually going to take our right onto this Nanfumbambi Road. Now we are entering the student residential hub in KiKoni. Along the way you will find a lot of hostels and a lot of food joints, which may not be helped now by the fact that the university is closed and not very many students. Auto garage. It's very interesting. I think this person trusts his work, so he doesn't mind where he's located. Same with car engines. Okay. Anyway, let's head. A lot of motorcycles. So if you're in Kampala, Uganda, you'll notice to get to places, motorcycles are the best way or your best hope. Now, I find it a little tricky, actually, having motorcycles come from behind me. I have a feeling that they may run global. So in case you need some hotel work, now that's where Grand Global is. I would have taken that route, but let me go through this one, the Nanfumba, to meet Kimera Road. Anyway, let's proceed. Most of the infrastructure here targeting student population, hostels, and some of them lately are evolving to apartments because a good number of students find it easy to stay around these parts. And it's not very far from the university. And since they've really been living in shared accommodation, double rooms, occasional single rooms, at times they don't mind it until the point when they start families, and that's normally what pushes them into apartments. So it's interesting. Anyway, for now, we are here, and I think let me cross just to give you a glimpse of these hostels to my left. This is how they look like. Now this is what I was telling you. Now it's in Mwesigwa residence. So this is now looking at the apartment space. I think even this, but this was a hostel. I think it's also going to be transformed. And then this is a hostel. I think it's been building in bits. So you get to know that such a person actually owns this property. Apex Girls Hostel. But if you see a structure rise very quickly, probably it's borrowed money, money being laundered, but I think banks find it easy to finance most of the hostels because they are profitable. And we are still on Nanfumbambi Road. I think I see a church in the distance. If you look at that tiled building just behind the tree, it looks magnificent. So, hostels, this hostel doesn't have a name. Oh, the bus has it, Mohika Hostels. So a lot of student hostels tend to provide posters to take students to the university. It's a bit encouraging. Some students get really lazy to walk. It's in Nalika Lane. I think that suggests that in the distance there might be a Nalika hostel. Anyway, I crossed so that I could show you the church. Unfortunately, there's no really sign to show it's a church. I think I just know. Probably maybe also the windows that are kind of colored and tinted, very tiny. From this side could help you know that it is a hostel. Now, we are still in KiKoni. in case you're wondering. Makerere Chikoni. And from the name, it's close to Makerere University, which is also in Makerere, the hill. In my previous video, I think I mentioned how the hill came to be called Makerere. I need to cross over since I'm trying to show you the areas around here. I've seen something interesting. Now, there's this school. It is rumored to be Catholic founded, Caltech Academy Makerere. And this is how you go to the church. Do I see architectural card drafting? Okay, that must be. But anyway, we're still on this Caltech Makerere, Caltech Academy, O level. Let me just show you this. This is very interesting. Brothers of Christian Instruction. These are the very guys who founded St. Mary's College, Kasubi, a very great missionary school here. So Caltech Academy. It's actually pretty old, but unfortunately, due to the confines of the suburbs of Makerere, they have not been blessed enough to expand. But I think it was to cater for the suburbs of these places. These places were actually slums before Makerere University was allowed to accommodate private students in the 1990s, which saw the rise of its population from 5,000 students to about 40,000 students, meaning that someone needed to accommodate them. Now the junction you're seeing right ahead is where Nanfumbambi Road crosses Kimera Road. Now I'll tell you about Kimera in just a bit as we join that intersection. But for now, you see there are mostly saloons, food joints. I think you might have also noticed that the population is mostly young around here, and that's because a few students decide to stay around and not go home. But it's strange that it's only 2 days to Christmas and there's still activity in Kampala. So this is the junction between Nanfumbambi Road, coming from that side, stretching to Makerere, Kavule, and then this is Kimera Road, stretches from Makerere Western Gate, or the boundary perimeter wall just next to the Western Gate of Makerere. So Kimera Road starts from there and then comes and slopes all the way to Kasubi, not Kasubi, Kasubi. You can understand the frustration, very similar name, Kasubi intersection. Anyway, we are going to take on Kimera Road, and most of these roads in Kampala, most of those that don't have colonial names, named after natives, probably people of historical significance. And this Kimera Road is not any different. Actually, a little bit of Kimera. Kimera is actually one of the kings or Kabakas. Kabaka actually means kings. Kimera is actually named after Kabaka Kimera, the third king of Buganda, and is believed to have reigned from approximately 1374 to 1404. I mean, that's decades, that's centuries, over 7 centuries ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, over 6 centuries ago, because 6 to 7 centuries ago, because 1374 to 1404, that's like 620 years since. So he's actually considered over time cited as the true founder of the Buganda dynasty, or its administrative structure for that matter. So anyway, when you hear of Buganda, Buganda is actually vast. In fact, the hill of Makerere, it's rumored that the name comes from when a prince found himself there with a lady. I think when it dawned in the morning, it was a gun of Makerere, meaning that it has dawned on me. So that's why, even as we slope, we are going to the extreme end of this Kimera Road, and this Kimera Road will actually lead us to the Kasubi junction. I don't know whether it's now signaled, traffic lighted, but that's where you'll find the Kasubi Tombs UNESCO Heritage site. Anyway, let's go there. more of a student hostel, Olympia. So if you want the most expensive hostel around Makerere University, Olympia is. And this building also has patiently grown to become this. I think I've seen it being constructed for almost a period of over 10 years, and it had never been occupied. I am glad to know that now there are activities inside, albeit not hostel like I had hoped. Probably on the uppermost floors, but looks more like a suit. Joy's Bakery, Salmon Laundries. I almost thought that was a camera, but it's a front load. Hoima Tours and Travel, introductions to Angela weddings, mostly businesses anyway. I wonder whether they see a lot of action. Anyway, now I think you'll now start seeing the suburbs or slums of Kasubi in the distance. But some of this gradually are being outrun by more modern infrastructure, as more businesses are willing to take the risk of putting most of their establishments around these places, residential structures, and so on and so on. I think the main problem is that most of these areas are thought of by the posh upper class as to be not secure, but then again that protects those communities from being invaded. And those who are brave enough to actually put upscale accommodations here, so most of these places you can see, that's like an alley through the slum. A few students find themselves around here and they have affordable food. For now, let's go on. And you guys, it would be injustice if I did not introduce to you to Omuntu W'Omunda. This is a church that I think I listened to over radio from when I was young, but this is the in full. What's the name of the church? I just know it as Inner Man, because he used to over preach about inner man. UCC. Something community church, Prayer University Community Church. United or University Community Church. Guys, forgive me. That shows that at times it's more about the message and not the person. But the founder actually passed on, but I'm glad to know that the institution still runs on. Now you can see more of the suburbs of Kasubi. So most of these are, I would call it informal settlements and informal enterprises. So foodstuffs, street side snacks will be common to these places. Sorry. Anyway, let's just take a moment and just listen to the traffic. Sorry. Alright, welcome back. So more street food. And guys, do not forget that our journey started from the Makerere University inside, and then we exited from the academic stronghold and into the busy suburbs of student residential hubs of KiKoni. Now we are heading to the Kasubi Hoima Road junction, where you'll find the home of the Kasubi Tombs World Heritage Center. But let's just go and see for yourself at the junction I'm talking about. Alright, so more of the informal settlements and businesses around these places. So traffic jam usually is caused by improper drivers at road junctions, but also maybe a lot of people now are trying to take these remaining 2 days to rush into the villages, because in Uganda there is a culture where a lot of people take the Christmas time as an opportunity to go visit their relatives in the villages and connect with the family members that have long not been seen. Anyway, mattresses. I wonder who sold mattresses is the way to go, but this testifies to the fact that this area is mostly residential, because these are like household plastics and so on and so forth. Like the World Kindergarten. Interesting. I think there are more suburbs back into the distance, and that is Chiwanuka Christopher Road. Who he is, I probably don't know. Maybe someday I'll find out. But let's walk up this hill. That's where we are from, the Makerere University Hill, Kimera Road. And now we are heading to the Kasubi Road traffic junction. Now motorcycles literally pass anywhere, so in case you want to find yourself places in Uganda very quick and pass through traffic without worrying or wasting time, the motorcycle taxi, here called border borders, are the way to go. More of the suburbs anyway. I don't have much to say about these places. No very outstanding infrastructure that I have any formal information about. So yes, and yeah, crossing the road is I think a negotiation between you and traffic. You can see so there's things that are typical residential areas. I think now in the distance you can see some tree line. Uganda is actually a beautiful country, many hospitable people, lovely people, and there's food all over. The rainy season, it has been raining for at least the past 2 weeks, which we tend to call the rainy season, but temperatures really don't change, just weather has already come here. I'm seeing a lot of malls cropping up in Uganda recently. Now this one, I don't know the name. Probably by looking at some of the signages I might know, but I don't see any. I like those stamped sheets. Sheet. Anyway, the name has refused. The name has refused. I'm going to cross the street because what I'm yet to unveil is very important. More food stuff. I see a butchery. Matoke is a very staple of these areas. Charcoal stoves. And voila, we are at the Kimera Hoima Road junction. It's actually signalized, and these are some of the efforts of Jennifer Musisi, the former executive director. And now the fence that you see there, where you were seeing a lot of trees, is officially the perimeter wall to the Kasubi Tombs. Anyway, let me cross this junction and see if I can stroll a bit. But the Kasubi Tombs has very huge historical and cultural significance. Built in 1882, it was initially supposed to be the palace of Kabaka Mutesa I. Yeah, there was a Mutesa II who became, I think, the first president of the Republic of Uganda. interesting junction, but I have to navigate it while also giving you a little about the history of Kasubi Tombs. So this is their perimeter wall, and you can see reed-like facade on it. I don't know whether the entire wall, no, it's actually just covered in reed, so it's not necessarily made out of reed. Probably previously it was made out of reed. They had a fire and there was massive renovation. Actually, it's a very huge green space, probably private, but it's open to tourists. So if you want to share into the culture and history of Buganda, we already looked at the Kimera Road coming from, in the distance, Makerere Hill, and coming all the way and crossing onto the Kasubi Tombs. Kimera, having considered the first former Kabaka of Buganda, king of Buganda, having established, I think, the former administrative structure in Buganda, so it's considered formally 1374. And we come all the way to 1882, when this was the palace to the first king, to the first Mutesa, in other words, Kabaka Mutesa I of Buganda. And it has long been transitioned. It was long transitioned to become a royal burial ground for the kings of Buganda. And I think the entrance is somewhere ahead. Probably, let me check up the hill and hopefully stop at that entrance. I don't think I see it anywhere nearby. I think it's literally ahead, but this is the right stretch. This is the right stretch. This is the right stretch. It is evening, and I think 6:48, and I have to find myself a bit of supper, since I found myself in one of the places where there are food joints. Actually, you cannot fail to have food in Kampala. Within 100 meters, there's bound to be a food joint, a simple motel where you can eat from. They're not takeaways, but they can do takeaways for you. Yeah, the entrance is up the hill. So for now, I shall stop here and just show you more of the trees. Yeah, so you have to find a lot of gardens inside there. And see you in the next video. And if you haven't subscribed, this is reason enough to subscribe. This was a walking tour. Thank you.